In this video, I'll be introducing you to auto layout. If you found it difficult applying to your design or even understanding it, I hope that by the end of this video, you not only understand but also fall in love with auto layout. Because the understanding of auto layout greatly help improve your design and also help developers understand your design more. So let's begin. Now, to understand auto layouts, you need to understand the box model. Typically, designers prefer to design in freeform, which is the freedom to move elements around on the canvas. While this may work for designers because creativity happens on the fly, developers who will be building this design need to think in systems and structures. This is where the box model comes in. Basically, the box model is a concept that explains how elements are arranged or stacked on an HTML page. Basically, you have to think of your design as boxes, stacked or arranged within themselves. So let's take some examples to understand it. So I grabbed the screens from mobbing.com. I want to break down how this design translates to boxes. So basically, think of this whole screen as a box. This whole screen is a box. It contains other boxes. And how do I mean? First, this top part can be seen as a box. It contains this clock, 9:41, and also these three other icons. Let's take another example, still on the screen. This is also another box. Boxes can be stacked, arranged, or contained in themselves. So this second bar here is also a box. It contains 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. See where I'm going with this? Let's try another one. This whole thing here is a box. So it's 1, the containing box, 2, another box here, 3, 4, 5. You can keep going on and on and on about this. So basically, pause this video, look at different apps you've interacted with, and think of how these designs exist in boxes. We can go, and so on and so forth. So understand first that every design can be thought about as boxes, being contained, being stacked, or being arranged within themselves or around themselves. So that's the box model. Now let's go to auto layout. So auto layout helps us arrange or stack our items in boxes. So if I have a design like this, and I don't want to create freeform, I want my developers to understand my design more, what I'll do is group items that are related, right? This is your name and the email. They seem related, so I'll probably imagine them to be in a box of their own. And this avatar here can be a box on its own. So these are the simple items we'll start with. So you can activate auto layout in different ways. Either by right clicking on the frame and clicking on add auto layout. Basically, you've added auto layout to this frame here. Or you can go to the right hand side and click on this icon here, use auto layout. As you can see, auto layout has been applied to my frame. 3, you can click on any of the 3 icons here and you automatically have auto layout applied. 4, you can press the shortcut Shift A and you have auto layout applied. I use keyboard shortcuts more often, so you can see them in the screencasts on the left here. So let's begin to break this down. A simple design we have here. These designs have been stacked top to bottom. So if you've been finding this content useful, be sure to like, share, and engage this video. I'm Shay, and this channel is Leveled Man. I get to share design knowledge across multiple tools, across multiple skills. So if you're up for that, please be sure to join. I drop videos on this channel every Wednesday, and we'll get back to the video. In auto layout, you're presented with options on how to stack your design. First, we have the freeform, which is the one you probably might be used to, dragging items around the screen freely. It's the first item here. The next item here is the vertical stacking. It's the one with the arrow going from the top to the bottom, which means when you select this form of stacking, your elements will go from top to bottom. The third item here is the horizontal stacking. Basically, your items will go from left to right. And the final one here is the grid. Grid is still in beta, so we won't talk much about it. So to demonstrate what we have, I'm going to draw simple squares in this frame. As I duplicate these elements, they keep stacking top to bottom. This is because vertical stacking has been enabled. When I click on horizontal, you can see the items go from left to right. I can select these 2 items first, press Shift A, and I can stack them vertically. And I can also select this avatar along with the name and metadata, press Shift A, and it's stacked. Now the other defining properties of auto layout that I'd like to introduce you to. These properties largely relate to space and sizes. So now we know what auto layout is. And with this little design here, which we've applied auto layout to, we'll try to explain what the different features are. So we'll come to the right hand side. Like I mentioned, auto layout allows us to stack our boxes in different directions. While there's freeform, which we are used to, there's vertical, there's horizontal, and there's grid stacking. Directly under this are the sizes. And then you have the alignment grid. And after that, you have the gap. Then the next portion here defines the padding, which is the space around our frame. And then there's the clip content checkbox. So let's explain this with the examples we have. Now currently, our frame is set to 211. This defines the size. The width is from the left to the right, and the height is from the top to the bottom. So when you see W here, it refers to the width. Now why is it 211? So it's fixed width here, and that means that it's the width that we have set. Now when you have fixed width selected, you can set the size of your frame. I can change the size from 211 to 220. Now there are other options there. There's hot content. Hot content means that we want the content of this frame to determine its size. So now after clicking hot content, see what happens to the frame. It adjusts to the size of this content here. There is another option though. It's only active when this auto layout frame is inside or contained within another auto layout frame. That option is called fill container. Fill container means that we want the size of this frame to be determined by the parent frame. So this is a frame here, and it has a parent frame, which means the frame holding it. So this is our frame, and this is our parent frame. So this means that if I set the sizing of this frame to fill container, as the parent frame grows, the inner box grows, and as it shrinks, the inner box shrinks. So when our size is set to fixed, we can set the size. When it's set to hot content, it means that the content inside the box will determine its size. And when it's set to fill container, it means the frame holding it will determine the size. We can use each and every one of these in different parts of our design because they have specific places where they work. Add minimum width, add maximum width. This define when you want to set a constraint to it. So I don't want it to grow much more than this. I don't want it to shrink much more than this. If we don't want our frame to shrink beyond 180 pixels, we'll come to this box here and add minimum width. I will set our minimum width to 180. As you can see the red mark here is showing where the line will stop. So when you start resizing, no matter the type of sizing you had applied to it, it doesn't shrink below that. So that's what those are. The next thing we'll look at here is the alignment grid. The alignment grid provides us with ways to align our design. So as you can see, as I change this here, it continues to change. The next item we have here is the spacing. How far apart or near together do we want our contents to be? That is what this part is for. So the more you increase the sizing here on your auto layout frame, the items become spaced out. If I add another item to this, you can see it keeps increasing. They can be decreased as well. That's for the gap. The next item we have here defines the padding. The padding is the spacing around our frame. So you can come here to increase the padding. Currently it's 0. When I press 16 and I enter 16 on the second, you can see we have spacing around our items. And you can also always click on the edges here to change the spacing. Your cursor gets to change to this icon and you can change the spacing there. You can also increase the spacing from this place. And if you hold down shift, you can increase the spacing by increments of 8. Now those are the features of auto layout. And with these little features, we can combine them to create anything we want. So let's do that now. So let's say we have this transactions list design. Currently, it's in free form, which means we can drag it around and that can lead to a lot of mistakes later. Now we want to apply auto layout to this. We can look at our design first, thinking about them in boxes. So first, we know our whole frame is a box, right? That's one. We can start from the left here. Our avatar is a box. That's one. Secondly, these texts together, they are boxes, although they are boxes on their own too. Next, the text on the right is also a box. Now begin to think about your design like boxes and it gets easier for you to do auto layouts. So we have these boxes here. This is going to help us determine how we would group this. So once again, the boxes 1, 2 together, which 2 other boxes are in, and 3. So let's do that in auto layout. Now first I'll select the 2 texts. I'll press Shift A to add an auto layout frame to them. The padding between them, I'll add 6. I select the avatar and I'll select this group, press Shift A as well. I click in between them and I can add a padding of 12. And then we have this last one here. I can select these 2, 1, hold down Shift and select this, press Shift A, and now we have an auto layout frame. Now yours may be different, but when you hover over this, you may see auto here. Auto means these items have been auto-spaced. A transaction item like this will require some form of responsiveness, especially when you're on mobile or you're on desktop. You need it to stretch according to the width. So auto-spacing allows some form of freedom, flexibility to your spacing. You don't have to worry about how things are aligned. So right now, what we have is box 1 containing box 1 and 2, and then we have another here, which is the currency. And now let's look at the types of sizing to give these items. First, the avatar, they're typically fixed. So for example, our avatar here is 40 by 40. It's going to remain fixed for a very long time, so we don't need to change that. So we have to set it to fixed width and fixed height. Now for the text at the top here, it might change. If this is currency transaction, the transaction tomorrow might be pounds to USD, shillings to USD, and so on and so forth. So that means we can't totally predict how long this will get. So what we need to do is to hog content. What that means is that it can go as long as you want. As you can see here, with all the figures I've entered, still doesn't get cut out, keeps expanding. Same thing for the item here. This item tomorrow might be yesterday, and you can see it jumps to the next line. We don't want that. It can be November. Simply put, we don't know how long this can get, so we need to set it to hog content. So whenever you can't predict how long content can get, you allow it hog. So that means it's governed by its own sizes. It doesn't respond to any other sizes. So that's what we've set for these two. So once again, fixed for this one because the size will remain the same. Hog content for these two. How about this other one? Yes, you guessed it right. Hog content, because the price can grow from $524 to $5,524. And now, just like that, we have our first auto layout. Now, how about this frame? How do we want it? We know we want it to stretch as the containing frame grows. If our containing frame is an auto layout frame, we'll probably find something like fill container here. But because it isn't, we can't find it here. You can also apply auto layout to the containing frame and then come back here, you see fill container. And what happens whenever you grow or shrink it? It responds. Now, you also have to ensure that this is set to auto. That means that you don't have to worry about the spacing in it. And that way your content can grow depending on the screen sizes without you worrying. It's a very good feature for building responsive design. So you can change the pattern around them, change the length of it, and so on and so forth. So let's work with something more complex. So we want to create a scoreboard, but also a scoreboard that has auto layout applied so our components can look very good. So we have all our details here: the time of the fixture, the logos of the club playing, the scores, the goal scorers, and some elements to help. So arrange it without auto layout. Just place things around the screen in the order they will appear. So we have our items arranged. We have an idea of where each item has to go. So to apply auto layout to this frame, we have to start breaking our design into boxes. So what's the first item we have here? The time. This is box 1. Also, we have box 2 for this, box 3 here. We can say box 4, box 5, and box 6. Then we have these 2 icons here. So all of these together can also be one box, while all of these at the bottom as well can also be one box. But they have boxes and boxes, don't forget. So we'll arrange our boxes 1, box 2, box 3 here, and then we'll take box 4 and 5, all within this box. And then the general box here is the whole frame. So now we have an idea of where our design will go. So we know this is a card, and this means that the card also has to be responsive. Items on the left will have to be on the left when we increase the size or shrink the size. Items on the right will have to remain on the side when we shrink or increase the sizes. Center items will remain centered. So first thing we do here, we add auto layout to this. So first I'll click on this time, Shift A, so add auto layout. I don't need the padding around it, so I can come here to change the padding, or I can just hold down Alt and Shift to select all of the padding at once. Click and press 0 so you can see. Select the frame and reposition it. We'll still be using freeform right now until we build our auto layout frames fully. So this is auto layout applied. Now for these other ones, what do? We can easily select everything like this. Press Shift A, and then we have this applied. Now we've applied auto layout to this, but given the nature of this card, because we know it's going to stretch across or shrink, we don't want to worry about the spaces in between. So I'll click on the space and I'll enter auto, and then I have auto spacing. So no matter how much I shrink or grow this, it keeps growing. So the next one, these are grouped together. So what I'll do is select player 1, hold down Shift and select the second one. Press Shift A. Automatically it's stacked vertically and it's also aligned to the left. If you check on the right hand side here, you see it. For the second part, I'll select one, hold down Shift, select the second. Press Shift A, and automatically is stacked vertically and aligned to the right. So we've created box 1, box 2, and now to create box 3, all we do is select the first one, hold down shift, select this football icon, and third one, select this. Now after selecting all of the bottom part here, press shift A, and now we can apply auto spacing. Now we have auto layout applied to all our frames. We can select everything, which is this frame here. Now we can select everything, which is this frame here. Press shift A to apply auto layout to everything. And now we have this. Now because there's going to be a lot of stretching and shrinking of this card, we want these items to respond. So we want a responsive design. What we'll do is select every one of them. You can select this frame, hit enter, and come to the right hand side. Change from mixed to fill container. If you have any weird misplacement, you can always select this one and align with this one here. You can always realign your items. So now we have our card done. Now when we stretch or shrink this card, you can see what happens. That's auto layout in action. We probably wouldn't have been able to achieve this easily if we were designing in freeform. There's so much more we can do to this card now. We can create a component of this card, change the club, change the score ourselves, change the names. So I'll apply some uniform padding to this. I'll say 24 across. So there's so much more you can do with auto layout. You can combine types of views to create very interesting designs. Let me know if you want to see more complex tutorials on auto layout. For now, I hope you've been able to learn a thing or two, and I hope this has been helpful to you. So let me know in the comment if this works for you, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video to somebody who may need it. I'll see you in the next one, and also in the comments. Goodbye.